Well, hello everyone. Today I'm going to make some venison salami. I'm going to try to make this as easy as possible for everyone. I really hate in videos when they'll have everything pre-measured and pre-cut and everything all done, all the hard work done, and then it looks like it's simple to throw together. Well, I'm going to try to... This may turn out a little longer than I want to. I will split it up into parts if need be, but I am going to try to take you kind of through the whole process, but as simple as possible. So that way, like I said, I hate in other videos that I've seen that people have everything all pre-cut, pre-measured, everything's all done. All they do is throw it together and it seems like it's done in 10 minutes. Well, that's really not the case usually. I do have some stuff pre-done, which I have my venison burger here, which I ground and froze last week. It's been in the refrigerator since yesterday defrosting. I went this morning and I picked up center cut pork roast just to to mix it with at least 20% pork and pork fat. It's going to be a little more. It's going to be closer to 35% pork, and that's okay. It really doesn't make too much difference. And I also got a little pack of pork fat here. It's a Hatfield pork fatback, just to give it a little more fat because the deer that I got was pretty lean. So first off, I'm going to start with one mistake I see a lot of people doing is I can't say in YouTube videos or anything like that, but I've seen personally is they will get their counter surface, spray it, and wipe it off. That doesn't make a sanitary surface. If you read the bottles of all your household cleaners and sanitary, you have to spray it and let it sit for 3 to 5 minutes, then wipe it off, and that way it kills all the bacteria. I don't have any special tools. Probably the most specialized tool that I have that we are going to use is my sausage stuffer, which is this right here. It's a 5-pound Gander Mountain brand sausage stuffer. I picked this up. I think I paid like $89 for it. It was an after Christmas deal. I got it a couple years ago. I like it. I love it. I just wish I got the 10-pounder. You hear a lot of people say that. Spend the extra money to get the 10-pounder. My biggest complaint about it is that they don't make the tubes, the stuffing tubes. They have 3 common sizes. I think it's 3/8, 1/2 inch, and 3/4 or something like that. But they don't make the small 5/16 ones for these if you're wanting to do snack sticks. That's my only complaint, where if you were to get the bigger ones, they do sell the smaller ones. So this is probably the most, like I said, the most specialized piece of equipment that I have. I'm going to be using that. And I have my Gander Mountain 1/2 horsepower meat grinder. I purchased this a few years ago. It's a number 12 electric meat grinder. Has a bunch of different cutting plates and everything like that. I think I paid $100 for this. It was also an after Christmas special. I don't believe they make this one anymore. Just a normal little cutting board. If anyone's looking for deboning knives or anything like that, best thing I found is I went to Sam's Club and they have a 2-pack of like chef's knives, and it's these. They're a really decent knife. I was surprised, and they're cheap. They're like $9 for 2 of them, and they hold an edge pretty well. Just a normal cutting board. Quick tip for you: if you're on a smooth counter like this and you're going to be trying to cut some pork and everything like that, put a paper towel underneath your cutting board. It holds it there. If I take this out, it slides all around. So just take a paper towel, set it on there, and it holds it tight. Just something I've learned from experience. I've been making my own stuff for a couple years. I enjoy it. It gets to be a little tedious sometimes, but yeah, we're gonna get right into it and see how it goes. First thing we're gonna do is be cutting up the pork. like I said, I hate when they do this all up front and you don't see anything. Now you see that nice thing of fat right there? You want that. I used to take that off, believe it or not, when I first started doing this kind of stuff. But then I realized I kept wondering why everything was, it wasn't coming out the greatest. And come to find out, I just wasn't using enough fat. That's why I got this extra bit of pork fat back here. And we're going to cut that up. These are just some pork ribs right here. Before I get too far into this, I'm going to wash my hands and get to cutting. Alright everyone, I'm here, got my hands all washed. Before we go to cut this, what we have to do is I got my fibrous casings here. This is LEM brand fibrous casings, and used for summer sausage, bologna, salami, etc. Casings should be soaked in warm water for 30 minutes before stuffing. So we're going to get right to that right now. I'm going to take two. I'm doing about 5.5 pounds of meat, so I am going to just use 2 stuffing sleeves right now. That should be more than enough. You can fit about 3 pounds into each one of these, depending on how tight you get it. So, I'm just going to get them here. I'm going to throw them in this bowl here. Not hot water, but warm water, like it says. Alright. I'm going to put a good amount so they cover, but the one thing that happens is that these cases will start to float. So once I get about half full, I'm going to get a bowl and put it on top. And that holds them down in the water. Alright, that's done. We are going to start with our cutting. Alright, these are, like I said, this is a pork fatback rib. I need at least 2.5 pounds. So, of pork. I was actually thinking about cooking, you know, after I cut this, if there's enough meat left, I will cook these up for dinner tonight. There's a nice little rack of ribs there. So, alright. What we need to do now is weigh this and see where we are at. I got my kitchen scale here. Turn it on. This is 2.5 pounds exact, 2.76 ounces, 2 pounds, 7.6 ounces. Now with that, we are also going to put in this pork fat, just for a little extra fat. Like I said, the deer that I got was really lean, and that weighs in at 6 ounces. So we're going to be right underneath 3 pounds of pork, and we have 3 pounds of deer, so we're going to be right around 50% pork, and it's okay. There's no rules out there that says it has to be a certain amount. I'm actually going to cut the skin off because I don't want the skin. I just want the fat. And you're going to have people tell you that you're doing this wrong, you're not doing it the right way. Well, I'll tell you what, this is the way I do it, this is the way that works. Everybody loves it. Everybody's been asking me all winter and fall so far to make this so they can have it. I'm making this for New Year's Eve. I'm going to make it and give it away to some friends of mine. So, alright, there's that pork fat that's sliced up. Now we're just going to slice this into chunks that I can feed it into my meat grinder with. Like I said, just real simple. There's nothing at all going to be fancy about this. So this, we're just going to leave that right there. And now we are, okay, I have 3 pounds there. So we're looking for 5. We're going to have 6. So yeah, we're at it right about, I may not use all these. I may save 2 of these steaks for pork chops later. Let's turn on the scale. 1 pound, 12 ounces. 2 pounds. Nope, doesn't look like it. Looks like I'm gonna have to use the whole bunch, which that's okay. There's no rules against this. You can make this however you want. I'm trying to make this as simple. I hate videos that they make everything seem like, you know, you need special stuff to do this. It's not. You're watching me right here. I want to save this. How much is that? That's 6 ounces. Let's see. It looks good. I want to save it for supper later. Let's see. There's 2 pounds, 5 ounces there. I have 3 pounds there. I'll tell you what, that's exactly what I'm doing. This is going in the refrigerator for later, along with these ribs. So let me just grab a plate here. I'm going to throw it on there, and we are going to grill that up later. See, like I said, there's no rules about it on how you need to do this. Right into the refrigerator she goes. Okay, now let me. I'm going to get my meat grinder set up. It only takes a few seconds. But I just have to get for some reason, they make this at just the right height where you can't fit a bowl underneath it. So I just got to get a book, put it underneath, and an extension cord. I'll be right back. Okay, I got my books underneath my meat grinder. I got my extension cord plugged in. We're ready to go. Very simple. Now there's a big plate that goes on top of this. I find you don't need it. Just stick it in there like that, and you got your auger. Make sure you have your spacer plates, your spacers on the back of here. That's what gives it the tension for the knife in the front to grind the meat. Stick that in. Now, grind plates. You'll hear a lot of different opinions on this. Mine came with small, medium, and large. I don't know the size. This looks like a 1/4 inch. This looks like maybe 1/8, and this is like 3/16 or something like that. Medium. That's what I go with. That's what I've always used, and I've never had any issues. Now, one thing too, a lot of people will tell you is that you need to put your meat in the freezer to get it stiff. I've done that myself. Yes, it does grind a little bit better. It doesn't make it in the mush, but you know, if you're on time constraints, you don't have an hour to do it. You're just gonna deal with it. Well, when I cut this, I cut all this meat into slices that will just easily feed down into the throat of the grinder. So we are just going to grind up this a little bit and see how it goes. You want to alternate your pork fat with your regular pork, so that way it gets kind of mixed in well. Whether it actually makes a huge difference or not, I couldn't tell you. Now, I was going to buy pre-ground pork, but it was the difference between $5 and $15, so I opted just to get my meat grinder dirty. Once you get it in there, it should feed right in. Little trick, You know how you get this little bit of meat that's still coming out? Get a handful of ice. Not a handful, just a couple of cubes of crushed. Get it, throw it in there, and it'll push the rest of that out for the most part. Yep, we're getting liquid out of it now, so it's as simple as that. There's no, it's perfect. All right. So now I'm just gonna pull this out, throw it in the sink to get clean later on, and this can go away. I'm just gonna throw it down here on the floor. All right, now what we want to do is weigh our total amount of meat. So I think this scale only goes up to like 6 pounds. Let me see. 7. It goes to 7 pounds, so we should be good. What you can do is I have this pot here, a big mixing pot. Now, you're going to have the people out there saying that you can't mix in metal pots. I don't have big plastic mixing bowls. I only have this. I'm using what I have. I'm not going to make a special purchase on plastic mixing bowls. I don't know what kind of difference this makes. I've never had any problems as to what I've always used. Okay, so what you do is you put this on the scale and you zero it. Okay? Zeroed. Let's see how much meat we have. Right there, 2 pounds, 4 ounces. We're going to throw our venison right in. 3 pounds, 4 ounces. 4 pounds, 5 ounces. 5 pounds, 2 ounces. That's pretty darn good. That's going to make us two nice logs of salami. Alright? So we have 5 pounds, 2 ounces. Now what we are using here today is the LEM salami, the LEM Backwoods Salami Seasonings. Alright? So, read directions on the back. This whole thing makes 25 pounds, but we only have 5 pounds of meat. So what we want to do for smaller batches is use 6 teaspoons of seasonings and 1 ounce of water for each pound of meat used, along with some cure. I have cure. It's out in the other room. I'm going to have to grab it. So 6 teaspoons per 5. So at this point, what I like to do is get my phone. So we know it's going to be 30 teaspoons to do that. So I like to figure it out. It's going to be 30 teaspoons. So what I like to do is go on Google and find a conversion chart real quick. That way I could just fill, a cup or whatever it is. Call me lazy, but it's the simple. You're actually really not that accurate when you have to count 30 teaspoons out. What if you lose count, So type in 30 teaspoons. It's 0.6 cup. Alright? So what I want to do is I'm going to modify this down to, 25 teaspoons is a half a cup. So I'm going to do a half a cup of seasoning, then 5 teaspoons on top of that. I might throw an extra one in. A little extra seasoning never hurt. So, let's do this. Get my measuring cup here. These LEM brand, this LEM brand seasoning is awesome. Okay, we're slightly over half a cup, so we're just going to dump that in. Actually, no, I just did that wrong. Crap. I should have mixed that in water first. We'll make do. Like I said, this isn't going to be perfect. You're going to have naysayers out there. We're going to make it work. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect. So that's half a cup. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right. Perfect. Let me go grab my Instacure. Okay, now it's a scant 1/4 teaspoon for every pound of meat. So we're going to do 1 teaspoon, and that should be more than enough. It really doesn't take much. So now the only problem with me not mixing that in the water like you're supposed to is what may happen is we may get flavor spots, which means that you need to just mix it a little bit more. Okay, there's 1 teaspoon of cure. Now this is backwoods cure. Actually, that one's pretty much kicked. I do have a new one, but I don't need that. Alright. 1 ounce of water for each pound of meat used. Okay, so we need 5 ounces of water. I tend to go a little heavy on water. I prefer just a little. Make sure you're using cold water. Just a little bit more. It's not going to hurt. Do like 5.5, something like that. Like I said, nobody's ever exact on all this stuff. Okay, that's like 2/3 of a cup of water is what I'm using right there. I'm gonna mix that in. Now comes the fun part, mixing. What I like to do is I have a stool here, because up here your arms get tired. I have a stool and I'll mix with my arms down like this. I'm going to shut the camera off right now because you don't want to watch me for 8 to 10 minutes constantly mixing this meat. When I get this mixed up, I'll come back. I do put on latex gloves. They're not latex. They are, what are they? They're latex free, vinyl gloves. That's what, I don't know, I picked these up at a food store, and it's just what I use. It works. Alright, let me get to mixing this and I'll be back with you in probably about 10 minutes. Alright everyone, I got my meat all mixed up here. What you want to do is I mixed it for approximately 8 minutes total until you get a nice, smooth, as you're able to tell, the pork is a nice light color. The venison was dark red. Now it's smooth, it's consistent. You can see the fat that's in there. I don't know how well you can see, I'm trying to show you this, but that's about 5 pounds of meat right there. So what we want to do now is get it, and we are going to load up our stuffer. Now, since I'm using the bigger casings, I'm using the biggest tube that I have. So here's the ring. I'm going to stick it on there. And remember how I said I like to go a little bit more water than what they call for? Reason being is that if it's slightly wetter, I mean slightly, it's not sopping, I went like a 1/2 ounce more water, just a little bit makes it count to where it's going to slide out the tube pretty good. Now what I like to do is I'll rip it out, I'll kind of pack it into a ball, and then kind of throw it in there, and press it around. You want to get as much of the air out as possible. Air in this is bad. You don't want it. Air, it won't make it. If you get air in the casings, it's not going to cure correctly. I don't know about that, but you're gonna get like dry spots, and it's just not gonna be good. So just get this, like I said, kind of get it into a ball, smash it down in there, kind of push it with your fingers, kind of work it like you would dough, and just try to work any air bubbles out that might be in there. So I think we may have just enough room, hopefully. I don't want to have to open this thing up against one. I'm almost to the top. I don't know. I have this much here. It's gonna be tight. I don't know. I may make it. Now, I may have to take some out. Just a little bit, just so this will seat down in there. And what I'll do is after I do the first tube, I'll open it back up. I'll put this wad of meat in there, and then crank it back down. Yeah. You want it so this orange seal sits all the way around, so that way it will prevent the meat from coming up. Let me just rinse my hands off here, and we will be ready here shortly. You'll hear some people that say that you need to have this thing packed in ice when you're stuffing to keep the meat cold. We're only doing 5 pounds. If we were doing 50 pounds, yeah, I get it. But we're only doing 5 pounds. It's going quick enough to where I don't foresee any issues. Here's our stuffer. Now here's a little tip for you. What we want to do is we're going to be cranking it down, so you're going to be turning it like this, clockwise. You want to have a pair of pliers or a clamp. I got a pair of vice grips here. You want to do it the opposite side of what you're cranking. And believe me, it's going to help you out a hell of a lot more. Okay, just stick that up slightly like that. We're going to stick our stuffer in the jig. Alright, let me turn the camera just slightly so you can see more of what I'm doing here. Okay, there. That looks better. Alright, can you see that? Yeah, I put my clamp right here. Got our tube coming out here. We're just going to push this down slightly. You'll start to see the meat coming out of the tube. There, it's starting to come now. And it'll actually come pretty quick. You'd be surprised. Alright. Okay, so we're right there. Just about, the meat's right here at the end. I don't know if you can see that. It's just starting to peek out. Before we go any farther, there's 2 things I have to do. I'm going to go grab it. This here is just your typical butcher rope. You buy, what is it, 100 feet here for 99 cents or something like that. It's stupid cheap, but it works well. I do have hog rings. I have hog ring pliers. I have the whole 9 yards. I just find it to be way much more of a pain in the ass trying to get the hog rings than it is just to make a loop and tie it with a knot on this. I just find it a lot easier. So I'm just going to take a pair of scissors here, and I know I have two things, so I'm just going to cut 2 little... Alright, sorry about that. The battery died in the camera. I didn't realize it until I was talking for a little bit. So, alright, what I left off is here are my two little strings, and I went and I pulled out these fibrous casings from the water. They're still soaking wet, and what we're going to do is we're going to start stuffing here. Just kind of go, you just want to go slow and easy and work any air out that may be in there. So, as you can see, just from the little bit of pressure, the meat is starting to come out. Now, I don't use any like extra liquid smoke or anything like that. You can smoke these, but I have found in the past it's easier just to put them in my oven at 180 degrees for, I forget how long it takes. I just keep checking them every so often. And then you have to make sure that once you take them out of the oven that you give them, you let them bloom. I don't know if it's called blooming with this, but when you do kibasi blooming, where you douse them in cold water until they stop cooking. So what we're going to do is just keep, we'll just push this up to the end here and start cranking. Let's see here. You want to go tight but not too tight, loose but not too loose, if that makes any sense to you. What I like to do is I'm holding my fingers right at the end here, just slowly turning, and it's working its way. It's pulling as it needs to pull. You don't want to go too tight or else you'll burst the casing, and if you burst that, then you kind of got to start all over. I'm holding at the tip of the pipe, at the tip of the stuffer, and I'm holding it tight enough to where I'm letting it slide up, and I'm not letting the meat back feed onto the top, onto the back of this, onto the back of the stuffing tube. So we're just gonna go nice. See, it just, I moved my thumb and the meat kind of popped out. So just gonna re-grab it here and just kind of go nice and easy. Like I said, I made this last year and everybody loved it. They were bugging me when I was gonna make more. So I got my deer. I'm off of work today. I figured, best off do it today, you know. This is it's December 27th. It's the day after, 2 days after Christmas. So I'm still on vacation. Today's my last day of vacation. So we're just going nice and easy all the way to the end. You want to stop. You don't want to go all the way to the end. You want to leave enough room for yourself to work with. There's about, I'm going to say, 2.5 inches worth of casing here. That's pretty much where I think we're going to stop. Let's see. Yep, that's where we're going to stop. Now, what I'm doing is I'm gripping really tight around the stuffing tube so there's no air, and I'm just going to pull off right to the end of the stuffing tube. And just a half a turn more until it fills that little bit of void up. Now, just pull it off and give it a twist. Look at that. You would almost think I'm a professional. I'm far from it. Now, like I said, you could use hog rings, or you could just use this butcher rope. I just prefer to use the butcher rope. I hold it here tight. I'll do an overhand knot. With the hog rings, I'm no pro at it. My big thing is I put holes in the cases, trying to get them tight. So I just did a quick overhand knot there. Now I'm just going to loop it around, do a double overhand, and then that's it. Boom, done. There you go. Nice log of salami. Alright, now before we go any farther, we're going to pull this up. I'm going to put that leftover meat in here. Now I've made bologna, I've made the salami, lots of kibasi, snack sticks. Actually, my next video may be snack sticks. It's this salami has probably come out the best. If I get bored in the wintertime, it's what I like to do. Just go and start making sausage and kibasi and everything like that. This LEM stuff is really great stuff. I've tried some other brands. High Point was okay. Now, I've heard a lot of people rant and rave about Sausage Maker. I ordered stuff from Sausage Maker. I didn't care for it. I didn't care for the taste. It was good, but I didn't care for it. Well, one thing that made it better, you guys might make fun of me about this, but it got a lot better when I realized the difference between fluid ounces and weight ounces, as in like 8 ounces, something weighs that much, and fluid ounces. Once I figured that out, my cooking got a little better. Yeah, make fun of me. I know, it's funny. I laughed at myself. I'm like, you're a freaking idiot for that one. And just not realizing it. Because they would say, you know, an ounce of water per pound like we did here, and 8 ounces of mix. Well, I thought I did 8 ounces of mix in a cup, as in like fluid ounces. And then when I realized it's, no, you weigh it 8 ounces, it came out a lot better. So, well, like I said, same thing. We're going to hold it tight here. Just going to slowly start cranking. And let it start pulling itself off. I just follow the directions right from the thing. I've tried in the past doctoring it up and putting my own stuff in it, and it ended up just coming out bad. Like, just not good. The one time I was using natural casings, and I didn't properly soak the casings. I cooked the whole batch, I think it was 15 pounds of meat, and it tasted like fatty pig intestines in salt. It was just gross. Alright, I'm at the end of my run here. You can see there's not as much. Just going to twist it a few times here. Get it down nice and tight. Like I said, nice log of salami. So, I don't know if I continued before about what I was saying with the water, the extra water I put in, but it just makes it flow a lot better out of this sausage stuffer, this casing stuffer. If you want to do anything like this, I suggest you set about $200 aside. No, say $250 aside. Get yourself a sausage stuffer. It's $100. Like I said, this one was $89. I think I paid for it. I paid like $99 or $109 for that one. And get yourself a set of knives and a good set of cutting boards. Now at Sam's Club, they have the big plastic cutting boards. They're cheap. They're $10 or something like that. So for $250, you could get yourself a nice setup and just go from there. Now, I just tried a quick overhand knot. Go around, do a double. And that is it. We are done. There you go. See, one stick's a little longer than the other. Now, this is kind of where it gets somewhat important. You want to put these in your refrigerator and let them sit for 24 hours before you even think about cooking them. Something with the salami, the spices, it has to go out through and get absorbed into the meat. So I'm going to throw these in the refrigerator. Tomorrow when I get home from work, I would throw them in the oven. I'll probably cook them for, I think it's 2.5 to 3 hours it takes for them to cook. What's it say right here on the thing, on the packaging? It says 300 degrees and place in the oven until the internal temperature of 165. That's about right. I would go low. I would start off at 250 for the first half an hour just to dry them, and then bump it up to 300. Let it sit in an internal temperature of 165 to 168 is typically good. Then pull them out, let them rest for 5 minutes, not long, and then let them rest as you're filling your sink full of cold water. Once you fill your sink full of cold water, dunk them in, let them sit there for 10 or 15 minutes until they cool off, and you are going to have an amazing product. Like I said, everybody that has ever had these, they're bugging me to make more. I know there's a guy I work with, he just got a deer, and he told me his next deer that I'm going to process the whole thing for him. So this might be fun. We might be making some more videos with that, but we'll see how it goes. I hope I was able to show you something in real time. Like I said, the only thing I cut out was the part of mixing the meat, because that's boring. I'd just be sitting here freaking like this, you know. Measured it all for any. Like I said, I did screw up at that one point where I should have mixed the seasoning in with the water and not just dumped it on the meat. I was getting too ahead of myself. Forgive me. But like I said, not everyone's perfect. You make mistakes. There's people out there that are going to troll. They're going to say I should have put some shredded garlic in here. And you could do that. Best off, if you're just going to try it for the first time, just go with the directions and then go from there. Don't make my mistake and try to do your own thing. What I did is I bought some sausage making books off of the internet, spent boatloads of money on spices, put them all together, and it sucked. So best off just to start with something like this and go from there. Make sure when you're slow cooking like this, make sure that you're using that cure. This it's called Flavor Enhancers Cure. I think it's number 2 or something like that, but it's for slow cooked meat. That'll keep you from getting botulism. You don't want something to die because from the food that you made. So, all right. If there's anything else I could think of, I will let you guys know, and hopefully we'll be making a few more videos from here on out on doing stuff like this. I really enjoy it. Be smart, stay safe, don't cut your fingers off with a knife, and don't stick your fingers too deep into the meat grinder. That's an important one. So we'll be back to you in a little while, and I'll tell you what, maybe I'll bring the camera back and show you the finished product if I remember. I'm horrible at stuff like that. So, alright, play smart, stay safe. We'll see you in a little bit.